Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Minimalist Educator podcast. I am here with Tammy today. How are you, Tammy?
Doing plain yet.
Okay. Yet could come later
No,
today. We could come later.
maybe not. That'll be fine.
Um, so today, you and I are having a chat about the topic, the moment I realized I was doing too much.
Yeah.
So we love a good lesson from a story. So we're going to
Yes.
share a couple of stories today from our own practices, our own careers, around significant moments where it was like, yeah, this we've gone too far here,
Yeah.
and what can we learn from those moments?
Yeah. And I was just thinking too, you and I have both shifted roles over time, like many educators. And so maybe we can determine like something from our teaching roles and then maybe the roles we're in now. Because I was actually just thinking, ooh, there was a moment not so long ago, uh, like less than a month probably, where I was like, I need to figure this out. So, but
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So
So,
from different points of our careers, I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, do you want to start with your teaching story? Like, when was that moment for you?
I don't know if I can remember. I think it was back when I was in Australia. So we're talking a long time ago now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And my kiddos were out at a specialist class. It might have been gym or
Hmm.
music. I can't quite remember now. But when they came charging back into the classroom, I had this overwhelming feeling of, oh, I wish the kids could just go so I could get my work done. And immediately realizing they are my work. What am I talking about? And it really was a smack in the face moment of like, oh my goodness, like how am I prioritizing all the other tasks over the kids that are
Yeah.
in front of me, because surely they should be the center of what I'm doing
Yeah.
and not a secondary part of my work. Surely that's got to be what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get that sentiment, and I definitely have had that feeling when I was teaching too, because sometimes you're just like in a flow of things, right? And you're like, oh man, I have to go get them, or they're coming back already. And so we know that when we get in a flow, like you sometimes don't want it disrupted. So, there's definitely those moments for me. I don't know if that was you in that moment, but but also like a lot of times the prep minutes are very precious, and so when you get interrupted, when you're get finally getting some things done that that you need to do, because it's never ending. And it could have been anybody coming into your room to disturb you too, right? Where it's like,
That's true.
hey.
Thank you. That's very gracious of you to say. No, it was my students. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh dear. No, it definitely reminds me of, what we've talked about and written about with the, you know, have almost having two to-do lists of your
Yeah.
chunk time and your confetti time. Because
Mhm.
if you do have a limited amount of time during the school day in a prep period, that's really, well, I'm speaking for myself, but that was never a good time for me to do the deep work. It was never a good
Yeah.
time for me to really put my thinking cap on and try and do something very conceptual or really deep or anything like that, because
Mhm.
it is so short and you quite possibly will get interrupted, and that needed to be at a different time of the day. And so I suspect that is definitely what happened to me there. Is I had gotten into the flow, as you say, and I was trying to do something more challenging in the middle of the day, and I just didn't have enough of a chunk of time to really tackle it. So I think, you know, knowing when to do those big tasks and when to just sort of tackle some of the smaller ones on the to do, I think is
Mhm.
a key takeaway for me from that
Yeah.
from that moment.
So then if you were gonna, I mean, you currently are in the classroom just for a day a week, which, is great that you still get to be with the kids. But
Hmm.
if you're going to be back in the classroom full time, is that a strategy you would use? Is the chunk the or the time blocking or not time blocking, the chunking versus the confetti? Do you think you would do that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely
Yeah.
100% do. Like, I physically have two different lists.
Oh,
So
yeah.
on my day in the
Yeah.
classroom, I write, yeah, if I have time, it's
Yeah.
things like photocopying, printing,
Mhm.
respond to that email, do attendance, those little bitty things that you can get off the to-do list. But yeah, it's definitely not the time to be planning a new unit or trying to
Yeah.
think about how best to, differentiate for that group over there. That's not the time, that needs to happen at a separate
Yeah.
occasion.
That's good. Good. It's good to hear that the things that we talk about are in practice.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I try. Sometimes I forget
Yeah.
about them, and then I,
Yeah.
see something again that we've talked about, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I
Oh,
should
yeah.
I should bring that back in again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, what
for
was
sure.
your moment for you? What was your realization moment?
I think there was one in particular that happened while teaching, and then kind of a series over time. But there was this moment where it was the start of a school year, and I was setting up a classroom. And I didn't know though if I was going to be in that classroom or another one because the admin was still deciding if they were like the new teacher that was coming in would they would be there or in the other room. And so it was, the few days, it was end of August, just a few days before the kids are coming back. And I was setting up the room and there was just stuff everywhere. And I just sat there and cried because I literally did not know where to start. And yeah, it was just so overwhelming. And so having experienced that, um, if I was in that moment again, like not knowing, am I staying here? Am I whatever?
Hmm.
I definitely wouldn't have had all the stuff out because
Right.
that in itself, like we tended to have a lot of supplies. We had very developed classroom libraries. So it was like, do I organize the library? Do I set up their notebooks? Do I set up all of the binders that we used to have for assessments? Like there was all those things. And so I would definitely um, not make the to-do list because that was a living thing. The to-do list was really long, but I would probably just choose the top one or two priorities, honestly, the things that I would really need to do to make the classroom functional for the kids on the first few days. And then everything else would just develop over time. But I was really in that mindset of like, I have to have it all done now
Right.
because otherwise I'm not ready. And that's like a really terrible mindset to have,
Hmm.
especially when, the physical space was just overloaded. And then there's the uncertainty of like, am I going to be is this going to be my room or is this going to be my room? So, like, how much time do I spend on things? So, I literally just froze. It was just like, you know, and so thinking back to that, like circumstances were out of my control, but also, you know, I ended up moving into that other classroom. I had a co-teacher, and then like things ended up being great because we had a really great working relationship. We had a really high functioning systems that we had set up, and I learned a lot from being in that space with her. So it ended up being a good experience, but in that moment, like I couldn't see past just the stuff in front of me. It was
Yeah.
hard.
That,
That was
yeah, no,
really,
I can definitely empathize with that moment of
yeah,
there's so much to do, and
yeah,
it's just, where do I start? Yeah,
yeah.
it's massive. It's
And it,
huge.
yeah, and it did lead me to kind of think like, can I actually operate in this? Can I stay in this? Uh, what do you call that? In the middle? Limbo.
Right, yes.
Right? Yeah, where you're just kind of in limbo and I didn't really think at the time too like this is temporary just like everything is, right? It's not like I'm going to be living in this limbo for the next month or 2 months. It's literally a few days, like I'll know. But when you're so overwhelmed by things, like you can't see that either.
Do you
So,
think do you think now with all of the work that you've done around prioritizing and
mhm.
knowing what to prioritize that you would have been able to handle that in a different way?
Yeah, I think so. Because I often think about, like, well, if I went back into teaching full time, how would I handle even just the classroom setup? Because often that can, you know, it can take longer than you want it to because you have a vision or whatever. But I just know that, and I kind of learned this from moving into the classroom in Singapore where there was really not much in there. Like starting with almost nothing is just really great. And so you can just you can just build as you go, and then it's your environment with the students. It's not, it's a we place and not just a me place. And it doesn't get overloaded with things that you don't need,
I love that
you know.
you always mention that about what a bonus it was to have
Yeah.
nothing or almost nothing. It wasn't completely nothing, but it was close to,
Right.
because
There.
I
Yeah.
feel like that would be so counterintuitive to so many people. Like I feel like
Oh,
most
yeah.
teachers would enter a almost empty space and be like,
Where's
"Pardon me, like how am I
Yeah.
supposed to do this?" So I love that
Yeah.
you always share that story.
Yeah. And I mean, the essentials were in there,
Mm,
right? So like I wasn't worried about not meeting the kids' needs. And once you figure out your kids and where things are when you need them, then it's okay. It doesn't
mm-hmm.
feel like you have nothing. Um, yeah, I mean, we've definitely experienced different kinds of classrooms where you've got all the stuff and then not too much stuff. And I feel like it can be weird to, like, I know there's some teachers who really like to spend the time in there and just like make it feel homey and cozy, which is great, but also like that can add to your mental load too, because it's something else you're thinking about. It's something else that you want to be just right, right? But you know, you got to make sure it's just right for your learners.
Yeah.
So if you don't know them yet, it's a little bit hard to envision what should be there. But yeah, that's definitely something I would, if I was going to set up a new classroom, I would definitely just kind of like, okay, what do I really need for my students? Well, furniture, how do I want them to sit?
Mm,
You know, how are we going to set up our collaborative spaces? And what kind of, first few day materials do we need? Yeah,
yeah, for
that's
sure.
important. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's another it's not a series of time, but I'd say a period of time that I would have each school year too, that I found made me question if I should continue teaching. And I don't know
Oh,
if it was just like coincided with like springtime and just like the seasonal change, but it was often like I've often found it really hard to just get to school some mornings in the spring till the end of the year. Like just
oh, that was a tough period for you. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. And that was something I noticed every year, like similar time. And I don't know if it was just because I was getting tired and I just like needed a longer period of like just not having that very rigid routine that we have,
Mm,
right? 'Cause, you know, school's a rigid routine, so
they
especially where
are.
I was. Some
And
places doesn't feel like that, but
I'm very
yeah.
curious thinking about that for you because
Mhm.
you have worked in lots of different climates, right? Where it's
Mhm.
warm all year round, cold a lot, that sort of thing. Did it change at all, or was it always something about that time period?
Um, well, I definitely think that during the winter months when I was in winter, that was really hard because I just didn't want to go outside because it was cold
Yeah.
and like you got to put all the clothes on and then when you get there you got to take them all off and like there's just so much stuff you have to bring with you in winter. Um, and then the seasonal change was helpful. But I really do feel like, and maybe it was allergy season too or something, like I don't know, but there was definitely some kind of like mental body chemistry, something that just I found from like March to the end of the year. Because we would all in New York, we would go till the end of June too. So it was like long. And it just felt, it almost felt like the opposite of spring fever, where the kids are like getting excited because it's like getting warmer out and more light and da da da. And I definitely react to more light versus dark. Like winter's challenging, right, with all the dark. Um, and so that would sometimes, be okay. But yeah, I just found that stretch long and hard to do. And then usually when I was at school, I would be okay. Like I would just, I'd be there, I'd be around people and then just get on with the day. But it was that initial, like, I just don't want to go there today. I don't want to do this today. And it wasn't even about like teaching, really.
I
I think it's just like, I just want to stay home today.
just want to do my own thing. Yeah,
Yeah. I just
100%.
I don't want to follow a schedule today. I don't want to, do recess duty or whatever.
Yeah. No, I think we've
Yeah.
all been there. I think we've all been there.
Yeah. I know it's kind of funny too, like working in this role now where it's my own schedule, but then when I'm in schools, it's their schedule too. So I'm like, I envision myself maybe going back to the classroom one day. I don't know. But then I'm like, could I do that? I don't know. Like, remember, remember those days when you didn't want to go to school? I don't know. It'd be tough.
You got to try it now just to see.
I know, right? We'll see. We'll see where the journey takes me. So in this role that you're in now, where you are in a coordinator role and you're overseeing some like curriculum work and you work with teachers and that kind of thing, have you gotten to a point where you're like, okay, I need to pause here and I don't know,
Yeah, I
make
mean,
some,
that's, yep,
yeah,
100%. That's an understatement, if anything.
yeah, yeah, because
No,
that's a different kind of load.
it is, it is. And I think, like, if we're talking about like a moment of
Mhm.
realization,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I think I have had a couple of moments where, so you know me, I'm usually pretty on top of things. I like to
yeah.
be organized. I like a calendar. I like a to do list. I like an action plan.
Hmm.
Spreadsheets are my jam, so I like to be on top of things. But I have had a few moments along the way where I have like legitimately straight up just forgotten things.
Oh,
And in those moments where I'm like, I've completely dropped the ball, I've missed a deadline, or I told someone I was going to do something and I've forgotten,
hmm,
that's always a moment for me where I'm like, you're doing too much, girl. Like you need to take a few things off that plate because it's just not like me to
hmm,
completely forget about things. I might not always get to things, like if I have a giant to-do list with lots of tasks to do, I might not be able to get everything done all the time. That's not what I'm saying, is that I'm like some superhuman person that gets, all their work done. That definitely not. But when I completely forget something,
yeah.
that's a signal. Usually it's like in the back of my head and I'm like, yeah, I've got it on my list, I'll get there. But if I've completely dropped the ball with something, that's a huge signal to me of like, oh, I've clearly got too much going on in my head at the
Mm.
moment.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because in December there was the week, it was like the middle week of December, and so schools were, getting ready for winter break and stuff. So I wasn't in schools at all. But I had some scheduled Zooms and meetings with people, and I totally got times wrong. Like there was one meeting where I thought was on a Tuesday, but it was actually on a Monday. And at least that was like an easy one to just jump onto, and that was fine. There was another one with my team. We were talking about a workshop that I was going to be doing. I thought it was at like 1 p.m. or something, and it was actually at 10 a.m. And so I happened to just look at my email app and it sent the reminder and I was like, oh my God, I have to be on this call in 5 minutes. And so I had like just gotten back from the gym. So I'm like, well, they're gonna get me how I am, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll be there. And there was one other too where I just got the time wrong. And I was like, okay, this is an indication
Mm-hmm.
that in December, when schools are starting to close down and I'm not doing those in-person visits, I too just need to shut the calendar off during
Mm-hmm.
that week because I can't schedule things correctly. Like I
Yeah.
just not time zone. Need to not figure out what time zone I'll be in or what they're in and make sure it's in the calendar correctly because I messed it all up that week. And so that was a moment too for me where like I was just screwing things up. And at least it didn't affect anything, but I was like, okay, that's not like me. So canceling a few meetings over the next couple of days and we'll just catch up in January because no, not doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway from this, Tammy? What can we learn from this?
Don't talk to people in December.
Okay,
For me,
done.
for me anyway.
That's fine.
No,
I can definitely take that on board. I would love to not talk to anyone in December.
right. Yeah, no, I think that just sometimes for me, just to look at my calendar and be realistic about if I should have a conversation at that time with someone, right? Like a lot of times things aren't necessarily urgent. So it's fine if we wait a day or two or talk about something the next week. So I just have to keep that in mind. Like just be realistic with the calendar and
Hmm.
then I won't get messed up because now January is starting and I'm like, okay, things are my mind feels better having a break. And we're in January right now recording. This will be in February when people listen, but literally that break of time where I just didn't look at my laptop, I didn't schedule anything for like a week, just helped me reset. Like I didn't realize how I really needed to just not look at a screen for a
Hmm.
while and think about time zoning and scheduling things. And that really helped. So, yeah. How
Yeah,
about you?
I'm not too sure if I know what my takeaway is from the forgetting things because
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to sort of do anything to preempt that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But
Yeah.
to know when you're going to get to that point where you're going to forget things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
wondering whether I need to take it more seriously, like when I have the first one of like, whoa, that completely fell off my radar and I forgot about it. Whether
Mm-hmm.
I need to take that more seriously and just sort of try and say, okay, I need to stop and carve some time out to get my head back around
Yeah.
everything that's going on. What can I get rid of? What can I shift? And
Yeah.
prioritize a little bit more rather than just trying to, you know, brute
Mm-hmm.
force it and keep going through it. Actually recognize it as a bit of a warning sign, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Something too that um might, I don't know if this is realistic, maybe, but just kind of to think of your compartments. So the thing that you like, the person you forgot to follow up with, do you go back, maybe not in your email chain or whatever, but just think back to your conversations and then like, okay, and then close that. Okay, I think I'm good there. Okay, what was the other thing that I forgot? Oh yeah, I forgot about this, whatever it was. And just like kind of take yourself back to those moments of or up to that moment of forgetting. If does that make sense?
It does
Like
make sense, but the particular examples I'm thinking about most recently, it was like the entire thing had been erased from my brain. So I wouldn't have been able to go back to
anything.
yeah, there was no like, what was that thing that I was forgetting? No, it was like
It's gone.
gone. So until
Wow.
someone said, hey, weren't we going to? And I was like, whoa, okay. So, which you know me, Tammy, is that like
Yeah.
me? It's not like me.
No,
No.
no, it's not. No, you have a nice little diary and calendar and all the things
Yeah.
and are very organized. So yeah, that's a good warning sign though, for sure.
Yeah.
So did you get to so what happened with that then? The thing you forgot.
Well,
Did you
yeah, it happened a few times, sort of back to back, and luckily, I um okay with admitting my faults. I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't worry or get embarrassed about, just saying
Yeah.
I completely stuffed up here.
Yeah.
And people generally, if you acknowledge what you've done and apologize, people generally give you another chance, I find.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as soon as I've realized what's going on, just trying my best to do a face to face,
Yeah.
authentic apology, and
Yeah.
then, getting onto it ASAP is
Yeah.
usually how I handle it. But I think I need to take it a little bit more seriously, so I'm not like apologizing to everyone.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
might not seem as authentic if you're just apologizing all the time. Yeah,
Oops, I forgot again.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh dear.
No, good lessons though, right? To just tune into the whether it's like the blank memory or the this this is so hard I don't want to do it, forgetting thing. Yeah. Just it's a good thing for us to focus on and say, yeah, our brains are overloaded then.
Yeah,
Something's happening there. So to take a step back and just give ourselves a few moments to at least, you know, close our eyes and take a little mental break after we realize the things that we've forgotten and then just, yeah, take the breaks when we can because we know that a, a good break will help us reset.
that's it. And I think it's interesting too there between those stories that we shared is that when in those moments of realizing there's too much going on or you're trying to do too much, there can be like internal things that happen that
Mm.
show up. But in your story from your teaching career, it could be external things as well. Like your body can tell you that you're
Yeah,
doing too much as well. So we need to
yeah,
take those signs really seriously as well.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Do you have a pair down pointer for our listeners and viewers?
Um, I didn't think about this.
I didn't either until just now. I'm like, I think we've been talking for a while, so we could probably have a pair down pointer. Um, oh, maybe okay. Maybe we've probably talked about this a zillion times, but I think it's just so important. Um, to just like if you are in that kind of like mental whirlwind that can feel like, all the things to do and you're just like torn in all the directions, the importance of the pause, just to like literally stop and like reflect on in the moment or at the end of the day or something because it's so easy to just keep going and going and going and burn yourself out and then it's like then you really have things going wrong with you like sickness and stuff like that and you just then you're held up. But I think that end of day or even the beginning of the day where you're like setting some kind of intention, not an maybe an intention or just like a vision of your day and how you want to feel in your day. Because I don't think any of us get up in the morning and say, I want to have a frantic day,
No, I don't. No.
right? I want to forget stuff today. So, right, like that's not usually on our radar. So, just kind of getting up in the morning with the thought, like, okay, I know I have all these things to do today, but I'm going to make sure that if I feel, like I'm getting too busy or I'm feeling overwhelmed, just stop for a minute and collect myself and then move on. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah, I
lot of
think I would piggyback on your pause pair down
mm-hmm.
pointer there. And I think if you can do that pausing in nature, I think that is
Mm,
super, super helpful. If you can,
yeah.
start thinking about what's going on while there's some trees around you, that can be super helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other one I would say is have a sleep
Yeah.
because so much of that like chaos that can be going on can
Mm,
you can wake up and feel so much clearer So
Yeah.
it's the amount of times that you can, yeah, sleep on something and get some clarity
Yeah.
is really, it's an amazing thing to do for your brain. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I just thinking of that, I started using this hypnosis app to just help me with some like mental stuff, like just calming down. And so I'll play it at the end of the day, like when I'm about to go to sleep. And I'm just asleep before it even starts the hypnosis. So, which apparently it's fine for just have it play like while you're sleeping. But something like that too, to just sometimes those are just 15 or 20 minutes. But just it's those are good short mental resets too. So something like that at the end of the day or while you're sitting outside, just feeling the breeze or birds chirping or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those are helpful too. Yeah. Some
Yeah.
we've got a few pair down pointers for today.
Nice.
Yeah. All
And
right.
just, don't do too much, basically.
Yeah, right.
Simple.
Easy.
Simple.
Thanks, Christine.
All right. Thanks, everybody.